The Effect of Brexit on Immigration, Part 10. As I said in a previous video on Starmer's tough posturing, his credibility is being undermined by the vast numbers of migrants crossing the Channel. Close to 40,000 have now come on his watch, while he brags about removing 30,000 illegals who had come to the country by other means. Undermining it even more blatantly is what Starmer unveiled only a few days later, his reset with the European Union. Imagine the conversation within Sir Keir's mind. What was a major reason for the vote to leave? Free movement under the bloc. What is a good way to prove you are serious about curbing immigration? Propose bringing free movement back for young people. It makes no sense, especially when your opponent is Nigel Farage, and yet that's what Starmer did. The details of the youth mobility scheme are yet to be confirmed, presumably until after the ink is dry on the agreement, or until Reform's polling goes down. I strongly suspect that as well as trying to compete with Reform, Starmer made that immigration announcement to sugar the pill of his Brexit betrayal. This capitulation, whereby he allowed the EU to access our fishing waters for another 12 years, was swiftly followed by another in Mauritius. Starmer gave away strategically vital UK territory to a Chinese ally and pledged to pay £13 billion for the privilege, plus inflation. There's of course no suggestion he stands to benefit personally in any way. Indeed, in the questions section of his immigration speech, Starmer betrayed himself by resolutely stating he would not put a cap on migration numbers and would not leave the ECHR under any circumstance.
I don't think it's sensible to put a hard-edged cap on it. That has been done in one form or another for the best part of 10 years by different prime ministers. The only thing that links those prime ministers and the various caps or quotas or limits they put in place is every single one of them failed.
Does going further mean disentangling ourselves from the ECHR and disapplying human rights laws in immigration cases?
No, I don't think that is necessary.
This showed immediately that the speech was all an act. On the cap, Starmer is wrong because we did have a cap for non-EU migration while we were in the EU since 2011. No cap was ever put in place since we left, although Tory manifestos since 2015 did promise and fail to bring the numbers down. Other governments' lies and failures do not mean a policy is wrong or can't work. He won't promise a cap because he doesn't intend to go the distance. And there we have it. Underneath it all, Starmer does not put the interests of this country or its people first. He puts international elites, foreign powers, and foreign migrants first. We can view the Island of Strangers speech as an insurance policy against Farage. Any time Reform polls higher, Labour can make some new immigration pronouncement or suggest a slightly more hardline policy. And if immigration comes down by a few 100,000, they think, Reform will be neutralised and that will be enough. Well, it won't be. Things have gone way beyond that. A huge number of voters won't settle for the numbers of the 2010s because they have now seen the results of those numbers. The levels will have to come down at least to those of the mid-1990s. The electorate have also seen the many failings of Labour in a chaotic 10 months. Rather than climbing onto a metaphorical life raft, Starmer is still doggy-paddling, getting heavier in the rough, surging water. Tactically, where does that leave our sphere of politics? We can take the win of Starmer shifting the Overton window further still. These measures he is taking can make things slightly more bearable, and if they don't work, he will be discredited more than he already is. We can point out the inconsistencies with his previous record, and to some extent trust that most people on our side are not taken in. We can also benefit from the fractures on the left, within or without Labour, as they become disenfranchised by his new stance. You can't really blame the poor liberal leftists and Corbynites. Mere months ago, Starmer himself would have described his words as far right. Now, border control is as fundamental as the difference between a man and a woman.